Hello, let's look at Infosys today. Before we continue, please note this is only for educational purposes. Kindly read the disclaimer and consult somebody who's registered for investment advice. So, just looking at the chart, right? Infy is obviously a famous one. It's been in the industry for a very long time. Um, Compared to the Nifty, it's performed well as well. Uh, but if you look at the last few months, the last couple of years, as a matter of fact, things have been a little bit of a different story. So if we scale back to 2010, 2009, right, what you would see is Infosys starting at around 170, 160, and of course it's come up over here. So that's almost 10 times the returns, right? That's a good performing stock overall. Even in 2020, it did not see any major dips. It went down to about 488, 490, and that was it. I mean, it bounced back very, very strongly. Now, that strength of the bounce back has dictated its last couple of years. What it's basically done is because of the way that this surge happened, and it's essentially gone from about 585, not 490, sorry, 585, all the way to a high of 1953. So that's a significant improvement. That's a 400% increment. Right. So given that, of course, that it's done that within 1.5 years, and it's put in a lot of strength into the market. It's of course tapered off, and it's a good thing. A good way to make a base after a rally is to go into a sideways zone or a semi-sideways to downward zone, and Infosys has done exactly that. So it went into this sideways zone, and then suddenly it indicated a very strong resistance here, and then it tapered off a little and then gapped. And this gap turned out to be the bottom formation of it. It was the final test. Now these false bottoms do happen. I'll tell you why I'm calling it a false bottom. So let's look at the weekly and the monthly chart as well, right? Let's look at the weekly here. You can see a similar trend, a more compact view of what was actually happening. Let me take you back to the monthly and then we'll come back to the weekly. And let's look at the monthly here. When we look at the monthly, you can see that there was this peak, and once the dip happened, if you were stuck between these bottom three lines, there could be another one here. I'll tell you what that is as well. But that's actually not important. When you look at price performance of the Nifty, this was far, far more important, 1377 compared to the line here. I'll even place a line here for you guys. But if you look at this box, right, this is where Infosys is trapped. Even now, it's trying to break out, it's still there. This might be a successful breakout now, given that the wider market's also rallying again, right? So if you look at this little area, it's a false bottom. It broke out of it, tested it, came back up, and then again it sustained it here. That says that this is the real level here that you need to watch. No harm in watching this as well. Nothing wrong in it. It's just that it's a deeper cut here, driven by news, driven by whatever it was. Okay. Again, if you look at maybe drawing a Gann box, right? Just to understand where we are, that's all. So if you draw that out, if you can see, that's around the 50% mark where it kind of does a false in and goes back. That's it. That's literally what it did. And trying to fool the market into thinking that it's going into a negative. Whoever bought there did a good job. The weekly also again, right, confirms this too. Look at that weekly trend there. Look at how strong it starts. Just, I mean, even before all of this price happened, way back in 2021, the way it tells you that this is a confirmation area is pretty impressive, right? The repeated tails and the candles forming. And then it goes back up here, comes down, and again it starts this whole wave around this. and a small blip here, and then again back to the wave around this. Um, Infosys is a very strong stock in terms of performance. Now it's going to see new highs, is what I believe. I've mapped out a few levels here that are going to help with the current status. Um, those of you looking at a support here as well, the high of this candle is 1270. That's also a good level to watch for in the long term. But if there's a breach of 1377, I like a significant breach, and breach right now, given how the conditions are, I don't see Infosys sustaining really well. Of course, Infosys not sustaining would be indicated by the bond market as well most of the time. What you have here is Infosys um, forming multiple support levels. 1377 is, I would say, the most significant one of them. 1495 is another one, and of course, it's above it now. It's facing resistance at 1630 and 1705. These are important, significant levels. Um, the resistance has moved down slightly to 1630, which is a good sign. Earlier, it was a little higher over here. It's still going to see resistance at 1705. It needs to make a base above 1630 now, constantly above 1630. That is when you'll see good movement. The next resistance and target is going to be 1836. I don't see it taking a lot of time to achieve this. I think it has broken out of this zone, and it'll go towards 1836 very soon. So those are the levels that with Infosys currently. Now, if you're looking to project future gains, you could do that like with my last video using the Fibonacci projector. That'll give you a fair idea of where it's trying to reach, what is actually happening. But 1836 currently, it'll have to scale up and maintain that to be able to see significantly higher levels. 1705, 1836, these would be levels for the stock in fee. Thank you for watching.